Okay, today we will starting the subject regarding the quantum cryptography. In a quantum cryptography called quantum key distribution. So what is the fact of quantum key distribution? In a classical manner, we have know the RSA algorithm. We have discussed RSA algorithm in previous semester. How we determined the encryption key, like a public key and private key. Maybe the single key that are used for that is a symmetric key distribution. So if we have a secret key in a sender side and receiver side, if the same key, then it's called a symmetric key. So the symmetric key is that both the party decide a certain key technique that is known as a key distribution. That is actually known as the key distribution. While we are doing while we are doing a communication in a secure channel, and we are I'm sorry, in an unsecured channel, we are we are supposed to take a some security measure with taking care of is key management. That is called the key distribution. While it is taking care of in a quantum computing, then it's called QKD. What is the QKD? QKD is the quantum key distribution. So this is the main key of quantum cryptography. The how you have managed the key distribution. So fundamentally, if it is a symmetric key distribution, you should have a key, and with the key value k, you encrypt a data, that is the plain text, and in a phase of decryption, you use you use you use same technique for and same key for decrypt the message. Okay, so you will return back the same plain text. So plain text will convert into the ciphertext, and ciphertext will again convert into plain text. That is the basic fundamental observation of our encryption technology or cryptography technology. So here the key is a basic idea of encrypted data. Now in a quantum KD, how we determine the key? In a both the party determine the same the key. If the K is able to analyzed. So problem in a classical domain is that we can analyze the key very easily and we can break the encryption. That is the drawback of any classical cryptographical algorithm. If anyone other than Alice, if I call the sender is a Alice and receiver is a Bob, there is a other than another one is a Eve. Eve is a try to hack the communication between Alice and Bob. So, so he or she will try to get the particular key to decrypt the message. If 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 able to acquire the key, then he will able to decrypt the message. So that is the called a cryptanalysis. So in a classical domain, the cryptanalysis is a very easy one. We have discussed there are a lot of drawbacks found in a classical domain. But what is the advantage in case of key distribution and a cryptographical approach in a quantum technology? That we are going to discuss, and that we are giving some idea how it's took place. The idea behind that have a couple of algorithms. We will discuss today the one algorithm very famously known as BB84. What is the BB84? I just going to the exact uh, page where you have a BB84. So BB84 on the name of Bennett and Brassard. Bennett and Brassard is given in the year of 1984. 1984. Mind it. This is the year of proposal when no quantum technology, no quantum computer is exist, but they are given a idea how the if the quantum technology exists and this type of key distribution can work. So we are learning the algorithm which actually proposed is just only theoretical basis, just only theoretical basis in the year of 1984. Mind it, that time the classical cryptography is not very well known, but that time the researchers are trying to develop a quantum cryptographic algorithms on the purely basis of theoretical model. But in the, but in the, but in the recent era, once the researcher able to develop a quantum computer, they implement that BB84 algorithm for quantum cryptographic purpose. Okay. So what is the basic key point of quantum cryptographic algorithm or key distribution algorithm BB84 based on first three assumptions, and these assumptions are today's now become a practical. What is those? The first is no cloning theory. That is a no cloning theorem in a quantum computing. This is a, we can say, the very much plus point or advantage that we do not or we can't able to copy a single quantum state. I have shown that whether we will able to copy or not, you can exercise with a definite example with a with the help of quantum IBM quantum computer cloud-based software, where you can use a particular quantum processor also to check that whether it is the cloning is possible or not. Binary data copying is not a fact. Mind it, binary zero is represented by a particular state of zero is no longer considered as a quantum data. It's no longer is a quantum state. It is the equivalent of binary data. But once you have some data in terms of psi, which is involved some superposition operation of 0 and 1, then it become a quantum data. The question is, if I want to copy it, is it possible or not? That experiment you can pursue. If I consider the binary 0 copying, that is possible. Binary 1 copying, that is possible, because 1 is a nothing else a binary quantum state 1. So these are possible to copy. These are possible to copy. But once you send some data in form of superposition of quantum state of 0 and 1, and it's denoted as a psi, that you may not be able to copy. So that is the theory they have suggested. That is the theory they have suggested in the area in the year of 84, and now in the year of 2070, that the 2017 is the first quantum computer come, and we have tested that this theory is correct. Okay, this theory is correct. So what is the theory? Quantum state cannot be copied. So as a result, what happened? If somebody like if want to copy a state, will not be able to copy, because you have to acquire. Suppose you have a key, you want to acquire it. That means the channel used by Alice, you have to copy. Okay, the channel used by Alice, you have to hack. somehow you're able to hack now, I may consider, but you need to copy the key. Once you're going to copy, you will use some quantum circuit, and the theory suggests you can't able to copy. Because quantum communication channel and no cloning theory will lead you that no copy of a state. So this is the first advantage. Second one is very interesting. In a 1984, that was given, the measurement lead to state collapse. What is the advantage of that? Once you measure something, suppose you have a quantum circuit, you have some initial quantum state, okay, you perform some operation, let us assume you perform a Hadamard transformation, and you might have used CNOT operation. This same circuit that we have discussed earlier, this is nothing else a Bell state. Okay. Now question is, the Bell state will develop, that I call psi equals to nothing else. It will be 1 by root 2 0 0 1 1. You can take any circuit. I just giving the example. So once you measure it, once you measure both the qubit, once you measure both the qubits, you will probably get as a probability of occurring these two states, right? This is a classical register. So you will get the probability outcome of that circuit. But after that, the state actually collapse. So after measurement, once you're going to measure it, it will collapse. I said earlier that thing. It's like something related to different examples. If a ball is rotating on a table, and if you just press the hand, the ball rotations or its rotations will stop. So that means that the rotating is means certain frequency it's rotating, but if you interrupt it, it stops that motion. So that means measurement is somehow giving the stopping that motion. And once the motion is come into play, stopping the motion into come into play, its state actually collapse. Okay, so collapse means from motion to static, like same. Reverse measurement, and third one is very important. Measurement are irreversible. Why is so? Because we know that quantum operations all are reversible. But once you include a measurement is always irreversible, because if you measure once, then that state is collapse. Okay. To keeping mind into that fact, to keeping in mind the fact, uh, what is the technique that is adopted for quantum key distribution in case of BB84, That is the more next part of our discussion. Let us now see what is the process of defining 0 and 1. So we can define 0 and 1 is a binary data, right? So always your data is a binary. Your data is a classical data, and it is suppose as the 10 minutes are left. We'll reconnect again after 10 minutes. So that's a 0, 1, 1, 0, everything. How Alice is going to represent this message? So what is the basis they have considered? Alice has considered. That is the main important thing. Alice can choose 0 state for representing 0, or Alice can choose plus basis for representing 0. So there is always 50% chance of finding the correct binary equivalent binary equivalent binary equivalent quantum bit stream. I don't know which one Alice has considered as a basis, right? Similarly, one can be represented as binary quantum state. One can be represented as for binary 1, and -1 can be represented as okay. So always is a 50% because there is a possibilities of 2 different bases that Alice can choose. So what is the key Alice has considered? Even Bob cannot predict, because there is always a chance of 50% different, 50% correct, 50% erroneous. Okay, what is the main idea behind that of 50% correctness reach to 100% correct? That is this way. What will consider? Alice will create a random. Alice will create a randomly 2n bit, 2n qubit data. Randomly. What is the 2n bit data? It can be represented as 0, 1, 0, 1. But look at that fact. For 0, 1, 0, 1, Alice first used 0 basis. For 1, binary 1, Alice has used plus 1 basis. For 0, next 0, at the first 0 and second 0, it actually Alice has used the plus basis randomly, and 1 minus basis. So once Alice has created this for logical 0, that is plus or 0 basis, while logical 1, 1 or minus basis. What Alice will do? Alice will send this bit of stream, this twice n bit of stream to Bob. Right? So Now, what Bob will read, Bob can guess that what are the state Alice has considered. Okay. So suppose Bob read for this 0 plus for this 1 for this 0, suppose Bob read, because there is always 50% chance of reading wrong. 1, I consider this. So Bob actually read it, because there is always 50% chance of misreading, misreading. Now these data will be transferred to Alice. What Alice will see? Alice will see this one is instead of this Bob read plus instead of 0. So Alice will take whether these two are match or not. If it match, then that string will be kept. Okay. If do not match, it will discard. So question is match or not. Match, whether match is yes. First one, no. Second one, match, yes. Third one, what third one is? Third one is plus. Third one is match, no. What fourth one? Fourth one is match. Answer is yes. Answer is yes. I'm sorry, this is the tick. So what the sequence Alice get? Alice get that which one is a match, that will be actually kept. Right? That will actually kept. So now what, as a result, what it happened? If you say that which one is a kept, that is a binary 1 and rest are 0, which are not match. So that is the classical data. That is the classical data Alice will send to Bob, and Bob will understand which part he have taken a correct measure and which part he taken the wrong measure. So as a result, Alice and Bob both will create a message of taking off plus 1 and 0. This is a that will become a key, which is called shift key. So this is a called a key or shift key, SK. So they will finally determine the SK is called the shift key, and shift key will be used for encryption of a unknown state which Alice want to transmit to Bob. This is the main idea behind the BB84 algorithm. So in the next class, we'll see what the practical implementation of that.